I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right, y'all. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna do this real quick. And I want to say something, man. I really want to say something about controlled opposition. I want to talk about controlled opposition. Now, I put this up here already. All right. I put this up here already. And what's going on, Lawrence? What's going with you? Okay. What's going with you? So it is what it is, right? So anyway, some of you people who post a claim to represent black people, whether it's black men, whether it's black women, anytime when somebody is coming on a panel and chastising you as a group, and when I'm talking about black people, I'm talking about the African American community, or should I say black people of United States, Canada, Great Britain, so forth, right? People who come from black people who are a diaspora group within a white dominated nation. I'll put it like that, right? And I refuse to use the term FBA because it's an internet movement. It's astroturf. So no, I refuse to use the term FBA because it also comes from a racist white woman. So anyway, let's keep it moving though, right? So everybody has the have to endure the a barrage of Pearl and ever since the death of Charlie Kirk, we had the you know we have the so-called COONs, in their buttermilk biscuits, get in front of the Twitter, the YouTube, and other spaces talking about how they have black fatigue. What's going on, Lana? What's going on with you? So yes, and now though we have this African from what that country named Benin. You got this African by the name of Frank. What's it called? Frank Zanu. Franck Zanu from Benin. So I see all these white content creators using him as a a tool to further their um their narrative about black fatigue. So I said, who is this Frank Zanu character is, right? So I looked up his channel and I see it. So anyway, let me put this down because it's fair use. So yeah, so I'm watching this live stream, right? And this is one of my major problems. And this is what I'm gonna call this controlled opposition. You got people around here talking about I'm gonna defend my own race, I'm gonna defend my own people. But then the arguments that's being raised is on some um childlike behavior. That's something like what some first grade, second grade student, somebody from grade school would bring up. Something that they might learn at a Black History event every February, right? But anyway, let's talk about it.
It's your boy Jew. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. You heard? Mm-hmm.
Listen, today's conversation is long overdue. Intellectual class with two brilliant minds that are different perspectives about the Black agenda. On one side, we got Dave Anderson. On the other side, we got Frank Zanu.
Yes.
Let me start here with Dave. Can you?
And Dave Anderson is the controlled opposition. And I am embarrassed by what I'm hearing. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm being embarrassed by what I'm hearing later on.
Explain to the audience who you are and why you are qualified to have this conversation.
I feel like my qualifications are I'm a foundational Black American, 22-time best-selling author, radio broadcast professional, husband, father, and liver of the Black experience for the past 5 decades.
Let me say this too. I better not hear FBA after 2025. That came from a racist white woman, and y'all gonna use the term foundational Black America. Stop using that term. That came from a racist white woman's mouth. But then y'all get mad about the term African American when African American came from. I know people gonna say, "Well, it came from Jesse Jackson in 1984." No, African American came to being from the African Methodist Church in 1792. Do not dispute. If you want to dispute what I said, go look at the term Afro-American, African American. Okay, let's stop the foolishness. Read a book.
I don't think I need a doctorate, but I got a couple degrees.
Okay.
It's all right. Aside from that, I'm living, baby. Okay, let's go.
And Frank, can you let the audience know who you are and why you are qualified to have this conversation?
My name is Franck Zanu, of course, from Benin Republic, West Africa. And I've lived in about 9 African countries. I was trained to be a journalist, so I've been a reporter for the Washington Times for 13 years. That allowed me to live in Asia, Europe, Africa. And now, of course, I live in the United States of America. So I have a link. I seems to be the only bridge who can compare what I know from where I come and then seeing people that we're taking from that place now. So I can look at the two and be able to spell out the similarities and what the root cause of some of the problems are.
The first topic I want to get into is, how do you define culture? And under your definition, do Black Americans have a unique culture? Let me start here with Frank.
Well, I'm glad you used the word unique culture. So yes, I'm sure you all saw the episode, that got everybody on my case, except this gentleman who was the only one brave enough to say, well, look, before I cut him into pieces, let me give him a chance to come into the studio and explain, to the audience.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. People say, oh, you're from Benin. And I'll say, yes. And I say, what's Benin culture like? And then I freeze. Because there's nothing like a Benin culture. Or if you're from Ghana, or if you're from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, there is no such thing. But if you say, oh, you're Yoruba, I said, yes. What is Yoruba culture like? Then he or she is able to start to talk about it. So there are similarities which I'm going to really explain, and you can see it. So I'm first going to ask. He's been on my show.
So by that logic that he just said, there's no such thing as a what's it called, Benin culture. There's only these subgroups within that country. Then why do you still call it American culture when you over here? When the United States is made up of certain ethnic and racial groups. So why would Frank try to make the argument that we have an American culture, quote unquote, but that at his own home court, there is no Benin culture? That's just a sidebar argument. That's just a sidebar. I might have to circle the block back on that at a later time. But anyway,
he's seen my. I do not put together that show, which I fund from my own pocket because I just want to say things to make people angry. No, it's because I really care. And sometimes I get frustrated about what I have seen from the continent where I come from and what I see here about my great-great-great-grandfathers, uncles, sisters who were taken away. So African Americans would say, well, you're not one uncle. Yes, I know, but I'm walking past my cousin, my nieces every day. So what is in my head is what is in their head. And what I'm explaining.
No, that is not the case. Why? Because you come from Benin. Benin is 90+% black. And you're on the North American continent, there is at least 10% black. Now, when I said North American continent, I'm adding Canada into this, right? I'm adding Canada and Mexico into this. So therefore, that's less than 10% of the population that is black. That comes from African genetics. So no, what you think and what I think, or what the North American black person and what the African mindset is completely different, because you are the majority. Anybody can, all the presidents, kings, princes on downward are black. Anybody can look at the dollar bill. There is no black person on the dollar bill, with the exception of Harriet Tubman. Anybody can go to any school and look at the list of presidents. All 46 of them, except for the exception of one, are white. So what you think, and I think, and there's zero black Canadian prime ministers as well. So what you think and I think, may think, are completely different. We come from two complete distinct peoples at this point. 500 years removed.
And it's something that they must listen to. When I say there is no such thing as African American culture. They're like, what do you mean? Culture for me is not dance, food, clothing. Those are not cultures. Culture is a worldview. The worldview is what drives people. Their relationship to wealth, to money, to community, to marriage, to family. It's the worldview they have.
Wait, hold on. I know he didn't say that, right? So let me go ahead and do this real quick. Y'all forgive me. We're gonna look up the term culture, right? We're gonna look at the term culture, and I forgot to cue this up, right? So he's trying to create a definition when the definition is right here, right? Culture, the beliefs, customs, arts of a particular social group, place, or time. A particular society that has its own characteristics, features of everyday existence. A set of shared values. Attitudes. I don't know why I said value. Attitudes, values, goals, practices that characterize an institution or organization. A set of values, conventions, or social practices associated with a particular field, activity, or social characteristic. Now, yeah. So for you to sit there and say food is not part of food and dancing, wait a minute. Dancing and food is also an art. Dancing is a form of art. So what are you talking about, Frank? Now I'm using the Merriam-Webster dictionary. I can use Oxford too. And an author will say something similar like this. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
That's the foundation of a culture. And number two, there is no possibility for you to have a culture without having a language. So if you read most of the books written by brilliant African Americans, the first thing you see, the headline is, the traumatic thing about slavery is not merely changing your environment. The traumatic thing about slavery is not merely asking you to work long hours. The Russians had hard labor camps in Siberia. Many countries, Japanese had it, where people work and they die. The traumatic thing about slavery is one thing only, which everyone has written about. They took our language away. They took our culture away. They took our history.
Wait, whoa, stop. Wait a minute. But yet you come from Benin and you still have your tribes and your culture. Make that make sense. So who is this our you are referring to?
History and religion away. That is a traumatic thing about being a slave. Now, if they took those things away, how and when were they recovered? So I met a gentleman. I was attending a conference in Singapore, and I met this gentleman who was a Korean sociologist. So we started talking during coffee, and I said, oh, I lived in Korea for 2 years when I was reporting. And he said, oh, wow. And then we started talking. I don't remember how the conversation came about when he asked me. He said, so your country was colonized? I said, yes, and my country, his country, Korea, was colonized by the Japanese for 49 years. And he said, what did you guys, meaning referring to people in Benin, what did you lose as a result of colonization? And I froze and I said, whoa, nobody has ever asked me that question. So I said, Prof, you tell me, and that will give me some idea. And he said,
wait, hold on. You cannot compare Korea being a colony of Japan, right? Let me tell you the history of Japanese colonization of Korea, right? Japan has always tried to colonize Korea since time immemorial, right? Between Japan and China, that's part of the reason why China and Japan are enemies, because they see Korea as a, as a resource, as viable real estate for the past 2,000 years. The point is, between 1910, the year 1910 and the year 1945. Hold on. Don't tell me I gotta free up space. I ain't taking no space. Now, between 1910 and 1945, Korea was a colonial possession of Japan up until the end of World War II. The Korean people have already was not stripped of their language. The Korean population was not told no longer to speak Korean. In fact, the Korean had a successful guerrilla war campaign against the Japanese imperial government. And that's why up till today, both South and North Korea, South Korea to a lesser degree, is militant against the Japanese people and Japan itself. So you can't compare Korea being a colony, being an annexed into Japan in 1910. You can't do that. That's a flawed argument.
No, we Koreans were colonized by the Japanese. So when they left, all we lost was time. We just went back being Koreans.
Imagine being able to build.
Right. Hold on. I'm gonna hang this up. Don't call me. I'm in the middle of something. Anyway, where was I at? Right. Even in the martial artist movies, it include the racism of the Japanese towards Chinese. If you watch any of the Bruce Lee movies, oh, hold on. Is my comment showing? Okay, it's showing because I see Queen. They lost their identity. No, Korean people did not lose their identity. Well, you know what? Let's be real about this, right? Right. If they all spoke the same language, how would they? How would you take it away from them? Right. And what's so? Let me go ahead and play through this ad here. Right. He played through this ad. And what's so funny about what he just said, right? Is that nigga? You speak France. You from Benin. You speaking English now.
I could tell clearly, what did we lose as a result of colonization in Africa? What did you lose as a result of slavery? If you don't fix that which you lost, you're not going to make any way forward. So in Africa, the countries that exist were never there. Mm-hmm. They force a group of tribes that have their own distinct cultures to become a country.
And then I would ask, okay, well, are you a man of culture? See, that's what I would ask. Are you, sir, Frank, Mr. Professor Zanu, are you a man of culture? That would be the first question I would ask. Well, not the first question. That'd be one of the questions I would ask. Because if he says yes, that he's a man of culture, then why are you speaking English and you immigrated from a country that speaks France, that speak French, which was colonized by the French, and it's made up of all these small subsection of tribes. So by that logic, you not a man of culture. See, that's what I would say, right? If I was on a panel talking to him. Because you can't chastise the African American community by having no culture when you are not part of a culture yourself. Make that make sense. Right. And you're right about that, Exposer. Bruce Lee movies. I watched the old Bruce Lee movie. The Japanese was always the enemy. And Bruce Lee was Chinese, though, by the way. But still, the Chinese was still colonized by the Japanese too, though. But anyway, let's keep moving.
So they've lost their distinct cultures, trying to have a culture as a collective, which is never going to happen. So for me, first and foremost, when I talk about culture, I'm talking about a worldview, meaning the collective have to have one reason they are here on earth. And that thing is what drives them. It's what makes them wage wars, conquer people, anything. You ask anybody, in 1884, it was the Irish journalist who finally found a word to describe the English man, which he called the manifest destiny. That exceptionalism of the Englishmen, now you call them Americans. The American exceptionalism is the American culture, that they believe that God put them on this earth to colonize and civilize others. And that's what drives them to go out there and try to give freedom and fight for freedom and do all the things they do. Now, good or bad, I'm not giving any value.
That is that a good argument or not? I'm gonna ask people in the chat room. Is that a good argument or not? All right. I just want to know if that's a good argument or not. Keep it moving.
You ask the Japanese, he will tell you their worldview. So their dance and food, and no, those are not.
Food and dancing is not culture. Well, some of those food that we eat was wartime rationings. Some of the food that we eat, like hog mocks, well, I don't eat that shit. Pig feet, chitlins, right? We eat that because on survival. We eat that because we was at war. See, don't think that there was just Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman was the only two people that have done slave revolts. There has been slave revolts almost every year when slavery existed in the United States. Georgetown in what's that town over there in New Orleans? The Charleston riot. There have been numerous of slave revolts. And slave revolts are what? Wars. And people use chitlins because that's all we could eat and carry. So food is a part of warfare. So for you to sit there and tell us about food is not part of culture, you're denying where the food comes from, the origins of why we eat this, that, and the third.
I came from a place where, as a young boy, I was given worldview, and it guided me everywhere I went.
Right. Just like what you said, One Sphere US, we had no choice. Because there was no options to eat at Red Lobster. There was no options to eat at. I know, no such thing. You know, I'm being facetious and saying there is no options. Because we were fighting against the elements. We were fighting against, right. Soul food came from slave owners' scraps. But yet this Negro, this tether is going to tell you you have no culture because there's no food. Because food is not part of it. Let's keep it moving though.
So when you meet me outside my culture, you can tell from my behavior, he must come from a culture that believes in XYZ. So a culture becomes more pronounced when you are outside the group. As an individual, outside your group, people must be able to tell.
Okay. Dave.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling though nobody can't notice the difference between an African and an African American? I think a lot of people ain't stupid. All right. I think people are not stupid. Sorry. People ain't that stupid. I think people can tell the difference between a black person in the United States and a sub-Saharan African.
Is your rebuttal to that?
It's not so much a rebuttal, it's a difference in philosophy, right? It is, and I think we got to thank Frank for even coming here, because I know for some people this would be very adversarial. Frank and I, we talk all the time.
And here's where I have a problem. This is where I have a problem with David. What's his name? Dave Anderson. This is where I have a problem with him. This is why I said Dave Anderson is the controlled opposition. This is the reason why I'm saying Dave Anderson is the controlled opposition in the context of this discussion.
You're very, very good folk. And there's a couple of things that I got to push back on simply because they were not available to us. See, when Frank was born, he inherited a culture. We had to make one with what we had. Some of us, if I were to swab any one of you, you would find some Nigerian, you would find some Ghanaian. Like, we had to hodgepodge, not to mention out of all of the places that Black people were forced into when we were slaves, 3% came to what we now consider the United States of America. And then we were bred over time. We were buck broken over time. They would take our women and grape them out of respect for your channel. You know what I'm saying? Drop the G. And then on top of that, they had a
see, this is where I'm calling him control opposition, because everything he's saying, I'm not disputing, right? If you're going to destroy your opponent's point, you have to use the strongest argument you have. Now, Frank Zanu already talked about your language, the lack thereof, quote unquote. He talked about your food. He talked about all this, but yet, and then Frank's argument was, well, there's nothing that you have done, right? There was nothing you have done. Now, what Dave Anderson is going to say is he's going to repeat the pro-black narrative that you hear over and over on YouTube panels. The same old victim narrative statements that we already know about slavery. But what about the things outside of slavery? What we did after slavery? What we bought? What we own? What are the accomplishments? See, he's not going to address that in a minute.
A split breast system. And the split breast system means that one breast would feed the white children of the slave master, and the other one would feed the black children that were going to be bought off and sold. We also have a situation where we had to face things that no other black person on the continent had to face. You know, taking our children and feeding them to alligators, lynching, Jim Crow, all of those things. And when you look at it, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, the pulse of America runs through foundational Black Americans. Who was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War?
See, that's not, those are kindergarten answers to a college level question. And Dave Anderson is supposed to be what? A scholar? Now, if this was Mark Lamont Hill or you know, and I wish it was like Mark Lamont Hill or somebody like a what's the name? Cornel West who was debating Frank. This guy is not arguing the points from that would clearly knock down Frank's argument. This is the reason I'm saying Dave Anderson is a controlled opposition.
Addicts, black man, foundational Black American, right? Harriet Tubman made.
And do not use FBA. Do not use foundational Black America. If y'all gonna look stupid when y'all find out who coined that term. Y'all gonna look stupid when y'all coin that term. Stop coining that term FBA or foundational Black Americans. It comes from a racist, blonde-headed, blue-eyed Aryan woman. This is the reason why this is the reason why I get upset at some of y'all who don't know the origins of some of these phrases that y'all spew.
The Underground Railroad and stopped it in Philadelphia. There are all of these things that happen that make it who we are. Now, as a person who was the first Black youth president of an organization called the National Conference of Christians and Jews, to Frank's point, I do agree, you don't really see your culture until you're out of it. So I'm a raisin and buttermilk in a conversation where there's a bunch of white Christians and a bunch of Jewish people, and they're like, hey, we do this. I'm like, no, Black people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? From the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we eat, the way we move. Not to mention, you can't go anywhere on this earth without seeing our influence. The problem is, unlike any other Black culture on the face of the planet, we have been colonized and monetized for profit by everyone, including the Koreans. K-pop ain't nothing but R&B. Let's call it what it is. And it's
see, why are you going to these stereotypical See, black people already. This, let me say it like this: we are stereotyped. Why are you going to the lowest common denominator as a key point? Why try to make it as a key point that music and dancing and entertainment is the only things black people know? Why should we be defined? The first thing that come out your mouth is about entertainment. First thing come out your mouth is about entertainment and slavery. Do you know that is a stereotype? Do you understand that is a stereotype about black Americas? Is that all we do is dance? We just shuck and jive? That's the first argument you're going to raise?
R&B under duress, because if you look at what happened with Megan Thee Stallion when she was dealing with those K-pop girls, she was like, oh, it's serious up in here. Because if they miss a step, they get what Joe Jackson gave Mike and them, but worse. There are all of these things that take place that no one wants to talk about. So no, we don't have a language because we weren't allowed to speak our language under penalty of death. When you talk about you can't come to the cookout and things of that nature, people forget picnic is an abbreviated slang.
Why you using the worst in the history of black society as a reference of black culture, black America culture? Why? See, you are controlled opposition.
Term, which means you get to pick and to lynch. Postcards came from pictures that they used to take the back of and mail for people who couldn't see the lynching that they had. All of these things we survived. And the funny thing is, everyone's coming over here and benefiting from the fact that we put out the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. All of those things that started as the Black Liberation Movement, but then got shoehorned into civil rights because everybody wants to come off of our pain.
No, I'm sorry. The Black Liberation Movement began when Phyllis, I forgot her name, y'all. What's her name? Who wrote that book in Washington Times? She was one of the first black authors in America. Phyllis Whitley. Phyllis Whitley was the mother of black liberation, and that was when America was a British colony, all right? Because she wrote to Benjamin Franklin and George Washington during the American Revolution. Phyllis Wheatley was writing poems to Jefferson, Adams, Washington, and the rest of the founding fathers about freedom. And when are you going to give the black man freedom to? That's where black liberation first started. Or I should say, it started way before the Civil War even started. Before before there was a Constitution of the United States. What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep it moving.
It's still a part of who we are. American culture is black culture. The problem is not only.
Hold on. Who is he? Hold on. Who is he? The guy's name is Dave Anderson. Chaotic. No, I mean not chaotic. I mean conscious moron. Yeah, conscious moron. His name is Dave Anderson. Oh, and by the way, your donations, all right, is appreciated. All right, it's appreciated over here. Yes. Write the QR code. Donations are appreciated. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Right?
Did we have to create it, but everybody else got to monetize it. We don't own major forms of media. So the message that goes out to the world about foundational Black Americans is very lopsided. It's very negative. Even Frank said to Nancy, he said, well, what is y'all culture? Twerking? Negating the fact that twerking started in Africa.
Right. Now what he said, now this is where you should have leaned in on Frank about. Because Frank was on that twerking, Black Americans shouldn't twerk. Woo, woo, woo. You go, well, in your home country, they twerk. Frank? Now that's a reference to an earlier live stream. I want to say this about 2 months ago. Right? But this about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, about the whole, when he referenced Black America, and let me tell you how I found out about Frank. Right, I found out about Frank by these white content creators who complain about Black fatigue. Right, so one of these Charlie Kirk fans who complain about white fatigue would use Frank Zanu as a reference, let's use his African to pound on Black America. So anyway, let's keep it moving.
Mating rituals, things of that nature, tying of the hip, stop me when I go wrong. All of these things get put out as if that's who we are. And it's a very limited, very narrow-minded, very sore and very disingenuous snapshot of who we are, because we get put into killers, baby mamas, this and that and the other. And then when you look at how the media is weaponized, right? They'll take people throughout the diaspora and then put them on platforms and then bring them here. I'll give you an example. There's a show on CBS called Bob Hart's Abishla. And she said things that were much more incendiary than what Frank said. Oh, what is it? Gangbangers and baby mamas?
Crazy.
No.
Oh, okay. Then who was the original baby daddy? You know what? I'm going to sing y'all a song real quick. Yes, Big J going to sing y'all a song. Have you ever watched that movie Jaws? Jaws is one of my favorite movies, and one of my favorite characters of all movie characters was Quinn. And Quinn sung a single song, right? Oh do, my fair Spanish ladies. Oh do, you ladies from Spain. You see, if you know about the history of that song, you know about baby mamas and baby daddies. See, that song, do, my fair Spanish lady. This was based upon British men from the British Islands who went from the Americas to the to over here, to on this side of the Atlantic, and then they needed Spanish women from Florida and Cuba, because though they needed, see, y'all might want to look up that song on that movie Jaws, when Quinn was singing that song. That's what that song was about. Was about making baby mamas and leaving those women in Cuba and in Florida to go back to Britain. See, you want to talk about, the white man, the white European was the first baby daddy. The white woman was the first baby mama. Stop the cap. Okay?
That energy is designed to keep us a certain way. And then when you talk about how the entertainment is weaponized, because that's the message, that's our largest export. It always has been. Our talent and our ability to entertain, but not capitalize on said entertainment. You can't point to one major Black-owned record company. You can't point to one major Black-owned media outlet. You can't point to one major media or technological distribution center that is controlled, owned and managed by foundational Black Americans.
And again, he's not mentioning not one Black corporation. There's about 5 Black corporations that is today that's operating in commerce for the past 75 years. Notice he's not mentioning the Tuskegee Institute. Notice, no, hold on. No. You know what? Let me dial that back. Because yeah, I'm about to list down these names out, but here, hold on. Let me let him finish his point, because this is the reason why he's controlled opposition.
And so the message of foundational Black Americans that gets out is not our message, and I completely reject that. If that's what you think the culture is, I am here to tell you that ain't my culture. It ain't never been my culture. It ain't been the culture of most of my brethren. Do we have some knuckleheads? Absolutely. Of course we do. But do we also have things like COINTELPRO we've still had to overcome? Do we have things like the 94 Biden-Clinton crime bill that we've had to overcome? And throughout...
Stop right there. The 90 crime bill that Joe Biden passed, it was advocated by the Black church. I'm going to say that again. The 94 crime bill, you can't just blame it on Joe Biden. Okay? I'm really getting tired of y'all using the crime bill on Joe Biden. Who wrote it? Yes, Joe Biden sponsored it. Joe Biden put that bill, the crime bill. The crime bill was a rider bill within the of another law called the 1994 Violence Against Women's Act. See, if you want to talk about the 94 crime bill, just tell the truth where it came from. It was a rider bill that was snuck into another bill that was about women being DV'd by their husbands. And who advocated for that section of the quote-unquote crime bill was Black deacons and Black pastors, because they was tired of seeing funerals in LA and South Central LA. They was tired of seeing it in Miami. They was tired of seeing it in Dirt War, Houston. They was tired of seeing it in North Philly and south side of Chicago. That's why those Black pastors of each of those locations went to D.C. and to the local congressman to have that crime bill be passed. Can you stop making about that was white people was doing it when Black people had their hands in it? No, see, know the facts before you speak.
I have yet to see anybody from coming to get us. I don't. But what I do see is, oh, well, we're really good at educating. We take the opportunities and we're able to, go and take these American opportunities that you guys squander. Yeah, because you get an immigrant experience. You do not get the foundational Black American.
Hold on, let me get in the chat room. Let me get in the chat room real quick. Who's in the chat room? And famous GSG said, I went and watched more of this Franck guy. And I think he's trying to inspire us to clean up and create an identical culture that promotes something that we are missing. I think that's what we need to do. He doesn't need to come over here for it. Yeah, Brian Allen. Yeah, Brian Allen has Hollywood. What is that motion picture company he got? He got the Weather Channel, and he also got Hollywood Studio. What's it called? Hollywood Movie Studio. Even Tyler Perry has his own studio. What are you talking about? Oh, we don't own anything. Barry Gold, yeah, Motown, all that, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. See, I'm glad there's people in here who know what the hell they're talking about. If we don't understand we have a problem, how you gonna fix it? You know, right? Sleepy Joe did not create the crime bill. He didn't. Stop letting people on social media tell you that, and y'all run and believe it. The crime bill was a writer bill of a bill that he wrote. He wrote the bill called domestic violence bill. What they did as it was going through committee, they snuck that crime bill into his bill when it was passed. But niggas over here don't know how to do their diligence and research that. They don't. So anyway, let's keep moving.
Can experience. You get the same immigrant talk that the Russians get, and the Russians got a lot of nerve because if it wasn't for Alexander Pushkin, they'd still be speaking French. Alexander Pushkin created the Russian language. He was a black man. So when you
hold on, you see, you lied on that. Alexander Pushkin did not create the Russian language. Now, let's talk about Alexander Pushkin, because I guess for some of us who don't know, Alexander Pushkin was one of the generals who was black, by the way. He was one of the black generals, right, who pushed against Napoleon during the early Napoleonic War. I think I forgot which war. I think it was the first. No, I think it was the second Napoleonic War. His army, Alexander Pushkin, pushed Napoleon back into I want to say Poland, because Napoleon invaded, was trying to take over St. Petersburg and Moscow, so that's why they burned Moscow. But the Russians under Alexander Pushkin pushed them back into Poland, back into Western Europe. But anyway, that's Anyway, you know what? They need to make a movie about that too, though. By the way, they need to make a movie about that. And that's where the book called War and Peace. The author of the book called War and Peace was written by a mulatto who's the son of Alexander Pushkin. Want y'all, that's a whole other. Anyway, let's keep it moving.
You talk about where we are and where we've been. You also have to talk about the mind screw, out of respect for your channel, that we have been put under. So no, we don't have an official language because we weren't allowed to have one. But still, if you look at AAVE, it's everywhere. And when it comes out of our mouth, it goes from the hood to the boardrooms to a billboard on Broadway or in Times Square. So we have culture, we have influence. And no, I'm not just talking about taking what's the word I'm looking for? Weeds and turning them into collard greens, or taking innards and turning them into chitterlings. I'm talking about the fact that we have persevered and we are the most copied individuals on the planet. So much so, if I'm wrong, please explain Akon to me. Please explain Burna Boy to me. They all do a variation of who we are. And I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about the walk. I'm talking about the talk. I'm talking about the hairstyles. I'm talking about the innovation. Everything we do. We took a construction workers boot and made it the hottest item for the past 40 years. Because everybody finds a way to profit off of what we create and then demonize us for creating it and then label us criminals, uneducated, unwilling. We don't care, but they don't talk about all the systems.
Yeah, but your argument is proving the point. Your argument is proving the point of the uneducated, the uneducated, the lazy, because your argument is on some superficial. Your argument is superficial. It's based upon style and music and entertainment. Black people have done a lot of things in this country, and yet you have yet identified an invention, a law that a black person created. You have yet to do this within the last 5 minutes of this. I would never, if somebody come to me and ask me, Big J, what are black people, what is black culture to you, Big J? I will list down five inventions that black people have done. I will list down 5 laws black people have legislated. I'll list down 5 corporations black men and women have done over the last 200 years. You have yet even tipping the iceberg. And this is the reason why you are this man, Dave Anderson is a controlled opposition. These are kindergarten arguments. And you're supposed to have a PhD?
Systemic things that have been set up and profited by people who want to keep us in a certain box. That doesn't mean we can't escape that box, but to act like we were not put under duress for what we had to put together as a culture when everybody else got to inherit it, and that includes Haitians, Jamaicans, everybody else got to be left alone so that they could develop. We didn't have that. And to this day, I have yet to meet one African, one Jamaican, one Caribbean, one black person anywhere who comes into this country and has automatically ingrained in them before they start going, my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, that they're afraid when the red and blue lights come on behind them when they're pulled over. And I get it, and I'm the son, brother, and nephew of cops. That's why I say, yes, we have a culture, but of course we don't have language. But let's disingenuous and act like it doesn't matter, because it does. Because as foundational Black American goes, so goes everybody else in society.
This is the reason why I want people like Mark Lamont Hill or Cornel West, even though I disagree with Cornel West and I disagree with Mark Lamont Hill. At least when you listen to them, they don't go down to the same common denominator answer that everybody quote unquote knows. If you're supposed to be a PhD and a professor, you're supposed to tell us something that most of us may not know. Oh, wait a minute. Oh man, I forgot about this steak over here. Hold on, y'all. I let this steak go cold on my ass. Hold on. Man, this broccoli cheese is on point. Yeah, man, this broccoli cheese and this noodles over here. Oh my God, it's on point. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me while I'm eating, y'all. But anyway. Excuse me for smacking real quick, y'all. But anyway, let's give a move. You could even name 5 things: inventions, policy, laws, conventions, movements that black people create. You couldn't even do that yet. Yet everything revolves around entertainment, and that's it. I'm getting really tired of that. Right? Yeah. Let's get. Yeah, come on, lads. Let's go, ads.
So, Frank, let me ask you a question. If slavery erased our Black Americans' culture, what do you call what we built after slavery? What do you call that?
Well, you have to give me an example of what you mean by what we build. What are you referring to?
Oh my God. See, he would never ask that question. What do you mean? Give me an example. He would never ask that question as an answer.
You tied culture back to African and something that you inherit. But you said that got erased during slavery. But we built something clearly Black Americans have built throughout slavery and the culture that we have currently.
What I'm asking is, give me an example so I'll be able to respond to that particular thing.
Well, like things like gospel is something that we built after slavery.
Songs and music,
the foods that we eat, that we consume.
Sure.
I want to bash my head against this table. I want to bash my head against the table. Gospel and music. Exposure. That's the point, exposure. How come Robert F. Smith's name has not been mentioned yet? That would have been the first thing within the first 5. See, let me say something. That argument would have been destroyed a long time ago. Robert F. Smith, George Washington Carver, the woman that made the GPS, the man that made the gas mask, the man who helped put the filament inside of the light bulb. You got all these inventions, but yet you Negroes, bruh, yeah, him too. The blood transfusions of the 1940s. You mean you could see? This is the reason why. That's why I keep on saying you got a bunch of idiots who have no business talking about history whatsoever over here. If you're going to have somebody who's supposed to be this intellectual, quote unquote, you should be doing some research, because you know at some point that topic is about to come up. That gets on my nerves, though. How you going to defend Black culture, and yet the argument is shallow? The first air conditioner came from a Black man. What are you talking about?
Songs and music exist in every society.
Is that not a part of culture?
No. Let me come to that. And first, let me make a little response to David's assertion that we were not allowed. So, in Benin or Ghana or Nigeria, you pick any of the 54 countries in Africa, right? If you had gone into a Yoruba tribe, which is now part of Nigeria, they would speak Yoruba. Now, when we were put together forcefully as countries, today, my nieces and nephews can't even speak my language properly. And the French and English, they can't even speak it properly. Because in one classroom, you have 36 kids who come from different tribes in that classroom. So they can only use English or French or Spanish or Portuguese to teach this myriad of tribes now who don't speak their language anymore. African Americans were not prevented from speaking their language. When the ship arrived, it was one from this tribe, that tribe, that tribe, that tribe. So
see, now here's where he's messed it up on, right? Now, do you see here the contradiction he just made? Right. I'm glad you said, yeah. Neil, Eric. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Wrong. I highlight the wrong person here. Neil Tyson. Do we need to sit there and just keep on? I mean, come on, bruh. How can you say black people is not a culture because we don't no longer speak the African language? And sidebar, what about the Gullahs and the Geechee people of the Carolinas? I guess though he ain't including that into the conversation. I guess he's not including the French Creoles in Louisiana either. I guess he ain't doing that either. But anyway, let's keep it moving though, right? But back to my main point, because that was a sidebar argument. But let me get back to my main point, right? If Black America is not a culture because we don't speak in language, then how come? Then therefore, by that same logic, but people from Benin don't have a culture because you're speaking French, and English, and y'all was forced to live in the same community when for thousands of years y'all spoke different languages, and y'all can't speak to each other in that same language in its current form. Make that make sense? You just destroyed. See, Frank destroyed his own argument. Right. Especially him. Okay?
Automatically, you can speak to each other. And when you don't speak your language for a while, like I've been outside Africa now, going 40 years. If I meet any of my uncles and I start to try to speak my language, I'm interfered by English constantly. And I can't finish it. I can't make a coherent sentence in my own language. Because at school, you could not use that language because we are now a bucket of different languages. The same thing happened here. You were
wrong. Because most of the people our heritage comes from Anglo-Saxon, right? Most America was Anglo-Saxon. Your country was taken over and y'all was pushed together from different tribes that speak different forms of various African languages. So I would like to ask him, is America a culture then? You know, a better question I would ask is America a culture? Because if America is not a culture, therefore there shouldn't be a country then, by that same logic. So why you brought your black ass over here? See, that will be my second question. The next question.
Brought as a shipload of different languages. That is why Creole and Patois were created. So use the only word you can understand, a little bit of the colonizer or whoever is controlling you, and try to speak to someone who comes from Senegal. You don't know what he speaks. So over time, it becomes this hodgepodge of a language called Creole or Patois. In Sierra Leone, they have it. In Liberia, they have it. In Nigeria, they have the pidgin English because they can't speak to each other.
Whoa. So therefore, by that logic, nobody in Africa has a culture, right? Nobody has a culture then. None of the 52, 53, 54, I said all of the 54 nations in Africa, they don't have a culture because the official languages of most of those countries, with the exception of Ethiopia, is a Western European language. So by that logic, you don't have a culture either. So you point your finger at Black Americans, at the Black African diaspora community, when you should be pointing at your damn self. Because every government in Africa has, of their official language, is of a European in origin.
Prevented you. All you need is to not to use your language because there is no one there to speak to, and the next generation, it's gone. The Jews, however, it was Jews. They took them as Jews. Even though they went from country to country to country, they were lucky enough to keep talking to each other because they can understand each other. So they were.
See, here's where you got it wrong. How many people on this planet speak Yiddish? Not Hebrew, Yiddish, right? Or Yiddish. Well, I forgot what it's called, right? Starts with a Y, right? How many people speak that? And on top of that, right? And on top of that, you can't use people who practice the Jewish faith because Judaism is also a religion, and it also requires people to read the book in its original language. That's why in the Catholic Church before 1967, if you were Catholic, you might know what I'm talking about. If you are a Catholic, you're supposed to speak Latin because that's what Peter the First and the popes of that time was speaking Latin because Christianity started in the Roman Empire. Well, I say it wasn't starting in the Roman Empire, but Western Christianity the Western side of Christianity started at the Roman Empire. That's why they were speaking Latin. That's why the Catholic Church they do the rituals and sacraments in Latin. That's how the Latin language survived. So you can't use Jews who use Yiddish and use Hebrew languages as a comparison to the African American because black people did not have no religion. See, that's a flawed argument he made.
Able to retain the language. Point. It happened to us on the continent. So don't be fooled. You hear countries like Nigeria, Ghana. If you ask 5 Ghanaians, one from the Ashanti, one from the Ewe, the Ga, the Akwamu, and the northern region, and ask them, are you Ghanaians? Yes, we are Ghanaians. Look at our passport. Ask them, what is Ghanaian culture? And they'll start looking at each other. There is no such thing. Ask them, what do you speak in Ghana? They'll start looking at each other. Ask them, what is the Ghanaian sense of value? There's no such thing. How do you guys marry in Ghana? There is no such thing. But you say you're Ghanaians.
Okay, then therefore, by the logic, shouldn't y'all destroy the boundaries in the government that the former colonizer created for y'all? If that's you want to talk about the culture, then the logic should be well, shouldn't you destroy the borders and boundaries that form y'all nations of today? If you're really serious about it, about the cultural part.
So can a real estate?
Yeah. The ads. But let me go back over here, right? See about culture, beliefs, customs, arts of a particular group, place, and time, right? See, I got all this all over here already, right? Contradicting his argument. You can't claim that black people in America don't have shit, but then, and you act like though you above black America, but at the same time, where you come from don't have anything. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. But anyway, we are back.
And when I arrived here, I understood it. When I went to Haiti, I was like, whoa. When I went to Jamaica, the same thing. So when I said I was only speaking here, so I said African Americans, I would have said the same thing about my own countries in the continent. We have no culture.
Yeah, but from that video, what I got from it is you put Haitians on a pedestal.
I didn't. No,
No, you did. You put Haitians and Caribbeans over the African American community. Stop the cap, Frank. You did that. Sorry, you did.
Let me correct you.
When in comparison to black Americans, you said Haitians, they have a culture. Like you said
no.
About your
I said. So it was a long video about Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And during that conversation, you have just a country forcefully imposed upon you a citizenship, but you are from different places in Africa. But right now, if you go somewhere, you would speak Creole, and somebody would say, oh, that is Haitian. That's what I meant. Not putting them on any pedestal.
So they have a language.
They created one.
So you want to say,
and it's not even useful in any way because it's not an international language.
Whoa! Oh man, the contradictions that he just said. Well, man, Creole, you're not a culture unless you have your own language. Now, though, you're saying, well, it's not internationally recognized. The contradictions, right? The contradictions of this. That's what Queen. Yes, Queen Sunken. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, crazy. I'm listening to some of this, and I'm just sitting like, what the hell am I listening to? And the problem is, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at Frank. I'm say it again. I'm not mad at Frank. I'm mad at the niggas who's on that panel. Y'all didn't catch what though he said? Y'all didn't peep out what he said? This man is making so many errors. There's so many holes in his argument that you can drive a Mack truck into, and y'all didn't see the opening holes in his argument. This could have been shut down in 5 minutes. This little discussion. Hold on. Let me go on my YouTube. You mean this is 2 hours and 23 minutes and 48 seconds? This could have been shut down in 15 minutes. All this was a waste of time. Okay? Oh. See, hold on. Let me see. Something else he said. Here, hold on. Let's continue playing this. Y'all should have shut this up right then. This should be the end of the debate right here in 20 minutes.
So they took French and made Creole, right? Is what you're saying.
Spanish, French, and then over 200 African tribal languages into one.
But Americans would say that they took English and made their own language as well.
And what is that?
I mean, it's a broken version of English, but it's still something that we could speak to that's specifically to us.
What language is that?
You know what? Let me go on, y'all. Let me go on.
I mean, it's English.
He's talking about
Well, that's
Ebonics.
the same AAVE, African American Vernacular English. The same way, for example,
I think I've heard, yes, when I came to this country in 1994, I had a debate on my campus about Ebonics.
Right.
Now,
Same thing.
Yeah, and somebody corrected me. I think it was my professor said, no, if you say Ebonics, there is no one collective Ebonics.
Correct.
You have to go into pockets. If the person is from the north, the south, the central, they created their own style around it. So I understand that part. That didn't even qualify as a subculture. So let me give you, Jamaicans don't have a culture. When you
You know, he just contradicted himself what he said two minutes earlier. And none of these Negroes on that panel ain't caught up to him. Oh yeah. I'm scared. We are. Yeah, we are. We are prime. We prime for Chris what's it, Galagos? Yeah, we are. We're headed towards a dictatorship. We are prime. We're prime for it, and social media is helping them do it. But anyway, let's keep it moving though.
say the country Jamaica, no, there's not identifiable as a culture, but the Rastafarians have a culture. Now, let me explain what I mean by worldview. The Rastafarians' worldview is that men were put on earth to take care of nature. Okay? That wealth, you have to create more than consume. So they live a frugal life. So politically, they are pacifists. They will never go to war. Socially, they are communal and what we call Epicurean. They believe getting high, eat some food, and have deep conversation is what life is about. And then religiously, they are Rastafarians.
But wait a minute, you just trashed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment earlier. You see, hold on. So how can you say the Rastafarians is a culture that's based upon, this level of, is a culture based upon a certain politic and certain habits? Then, and since you were talking about the political part of it, isn't the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment that you dismissed was a political statement? Or maybe I'm going too much into the weeds.
Hippies are the Western version of Rastafarians. They also had a worldview, and that dictated their relationship with wealth. The hippies believe that humans were put on earth to create and consume, and that living in community and being frugal as to wearing the most inexpensive clothing and using things together is what life is all about. So it guided how you see them dress, where they shop from, why they marry, on and on and on. That's what I mean by any society. If you want to understand them, it's the worldview. The Jews believe that they were put on earth as God's chosen people. That through them, that is a worldview. Now, any child told that, forget hurting one of them, because they are driven by that. That is why they insist on having a community.
Man, I know. Wait a minute. Hold on. Then he needs to explain this. Then, okay. I want him to explain this picture right here, yo. I want him to explain this. Then, okay. For him saying all of that, he needs to explain this. I need him to explain this picture right here. Then, if you talk about we don't have no culture, then explain this. He needs to explain this right here for me. Explain this then, Frank. You see, I'm getting tired of people who don't know how to debate or don't know what to debate the person on. He contradicts himself again.
The Chinese, the white community. Do Africans that come from the continent have a community? We don't. Why? Because we don't have a culture.
Whoa!
If we had, it would drive us to have a community. In the 50 states of the United States of America, African Americans don't have a community. They have neighborhoods.
Really? Then what is the black church then? Most of the black church, like I'm gonna use Mother Bethel Church, Mother Bethel African Methodist Church in North Philly, right? That church was a church where that was fighting against slavery. The church that Dylan Roof shot up in South Carolina, I'm talking about the one that Dylan Roof went in there. That church was created and fought and was a part of slave revolts. Some of your Baptist churches in the South, you know, I'm talking about the black ones, organized slave revolts in Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas. If you go to a Baptist church that's been around since the 1800s, or so, go look into the history. Go to any Baptist church, Methodist church, or any black church, for that matter, that existed in the 1800s. Go ask the church secretary, the elders, or the historian about the history of that church, and you'll see what they did. Slave revolts, armed insurrections against white authority, the slaveholder authority. The Deacons of Defense of the 1950s and 60s. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Now, people who got angry with me didn't even ask me, what does culture do anyway? What is that I say you didn't have, that it makes you what? Nobody asked that question. What is that thing you're trying to hold on called culture, by the way? What is it?
You care to elaborate on that then? Now?
No, I'm asking. Once upon a time, John Lennon sang a song. Imagine we don't have religion. Imagine a world without religion, without heaven and hell. He believed in what? The brotherhood of mankind. Sure. So imagine the people without a culture. Maybe they are striving to a brotherhood of mankind. So you take words out of context and then you crucify a man. Right. Not knowing that I am a victim of a cultureless country.
You know, that's sometimes the risk.
I think we get angry too quickly. We're too sensitive. I was giving a talk, live talk the other day, and a gentleman, not the way David is behaving, he wrote the book and he said, my brother Frank, he doesn't know what this means to me. He called me on the phone and spoke with me. And we became friends, like on the phone. And I said, I got to go. Even if it's 3 hours drive, if I have to fly, I'm going to see this gentleman. Because more than this conversation, there is someone here who really is a thinker. But we got to begin to tame down and accept criticism, because that is the only way societies were built in this world. In my live talk, I told this gentleman when he wouldn't get off my case, and I said, let me tell you something. You don't hate the white man. You don't even fear them. Because if black people hate and fear the white man the way they hate and fear each other, you would all have left this country at the end of slavery.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me stop right here. Then how come you didn't stop them white folks from the alt-right using your video as they talk about black fatigue? How come you didn't stop those white folks to stop using your videos on their black fatigue on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube? That's a big old contradiction. Yeah, exactly. He contradicted himself. You see, this could have ended a long time ago. This would be no 2 hour, 2.5 half-hour discussion. This would have been solved in 20 minutes. We could have solved this. All them talking points he raised could have been chopped down in 20 minutes. It wouldn't be an episode of a primetime TV show. 30 minutes tops. End of discussion. Ain't gonna be no sequel. Ain't gonna be no next episode. But you know what? I'm done here. I'm done. I'm done with this. You know, I'm done because yeah, I'm done. I'm done talking about this. You know, it could have been you talk. If you love the white man, you know, if you love the white man, you wouldn't. Well, start that in Benin about yay the white man. Now, D Chicago said, so your argument is that we have a culture because we have what the white man gave us? Hey, I guess somebody ain't paying attention to what I said. I guess you didn't pay attention to what I said. What did I say? Now, earlier in this live stream, I named inventions, companies that we created. Yes, I did mention black churches, but go back earlier because I said Kostinski Institute, Robert F. Smith's corporation. What's the other corporation in Texas? Millennial Steel. Not South Carolina. North Carolina Insurance Incorporated. Worldwide Tech. What other black corporations that I miss? There are about 5 black corporations here in America. And I'm not even mentioning Oprah. I'm not even mentioning Tyler Perry. I'm talking about actual black corporations that black people actually created and been around for more than 100 years. So for you to tell me, right? No. Business is a culture. See, you see what he just said? Hold on. Let's go right back to the definition of culture. Right? Let's go right back to the definition of culture. We can go right on back over here. Hold on. Right here. Right? A set of shared attitudes, values, goals, practices that characterize an institution or an organization. A set of values, conventions, or social practices associated with a particular field, activity, or social characteristic. And you said fine arts and humanities and broad aspect of science, distinguished from vocational and technical skills. So you said black people don't have a culture. Black people do have a culture. Y'all don't do your research. What we invent is a part of what see again. Now though what you're gonna do is it is what it is. And I'm bringing y'all the dictionary definition of culture. Culture is everything we create. Everything that we create as a society, it belongs to that culture. Or belongs to that society. See, you more worried about what is given, right? You talking about what is given. I'm talking about what we created. What we created is a part of our culture. And I'm not talking about music. I'm not talking about dancing. I'm not talking about some form of entertainment. I'm talking about something that is substantial. Something that's tangible. But anyway, I said enough. I said enough. I'm gonna end this live stream, y'all. I'm gonna end this live stream, and creating a business is not black culture. Okay, let me ask you something. Where do you have a phone? D in Chicago, do you have a phone? Better yet, do you have a car that was created in 2005? That's my male a vessel. I've been saying that some people should not have no business talking about certain subjects. Just Google black invention myths. I'm not talking about black invention myths. Who invented the gas mask? D. Chicago. Who invented the gas mask, sir? Who's credited with the gas mask? What about the first successful blood transfusions? That's a part of culture. What we do in history is a part of culture. And when I say history, I'm not talking about the first person, the first black person, the first black woman that did this. No. I'm talking about what we create is part of culture. And sometimes what we create is also an art form too, which art is also a part of culture. So no, I'm not talking about the myths that some of these conscious community fools will be saying online. Yeah, we create the airplane and we create. No, I ain't talking about that. We're talking about blood transfusions, the gas mask, uh, GPS. The something have to do with the internet. How come are what we contribute to the space race of the 1960s? That's part of black culture. So no, I'm not on the realm of these made up. We invented a car. We invented. You know, I'm not even on that level. Facts exposure. And that's my problem at Mel. This has been my problem, Mel. These bad faith arguments. I'm really getting tired of these bad faith arguments being being spewed online. It's a bad faith argument. Why raise that argument? You're arguing out of bad faith, and it is really getting on my damn nerves, though. It's really getting on my nerves, Melanated Vessel. It's getting on my nerves. So yeah. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm just, um, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. I'm really getting tired of these arguments. These arguments make no sense. And I'm gonna say this, Mel. I'm gonna say this to you because this is the reason why is what I said yesterday, right? There's people trying to push out misinformation and pushing out anti-intellectual arguments and statements and trying to make it seem legit. That's why I don't trust AI generated. I don't trust that chat GPT. I don't trust any of that nonsense. I don't. Because the more you listen to it, the more, man, you listen to it, the more you realize there's too many errors and holes in their statements. I think, anyway, let me get out of here, y'all. Let me get out of here. Oh, and by the way, right? I'm gonna make a statement real quick. I don't know I should say this or not. This is to like that nigga over there, right? Speaking about misinformation. Nigga, don't you ever make a video about me, a live stream about me, when you can't comprehend a goddamn thing. Cause nigga, on my live stream I did yesterday, you hoe ass nigga, I said it wasn't about you. Now, some punk ass nigga came over here and said, "Oh, Big J, you being cooked." Really, nigga? So I'm being cooked by you? You could even understand when I said I'm not talking about you. And then, nigga, you want to make fun of somebody's speech impediment. Really? Really, nigga? What I said had nothing to do with you. It had something to do with somebody else. Raspberry Exclusive is a bitch ass nigga. Yes, yes, he is. Raspberry Exclusives. Raspberry Exclusives can't comprehend what I said. I know what I said. And then, nigga, all you gotta do is ask, well, Big J, what did you actually said? That's all what Raspberry Exclusives should have done. He said, well, Big J, what did you mean by what you said? Because it wasn't that hard to follow what I said. Because what I said had something to do with Sharon said. Had nothing to do with you. Now, you called a woman a bitch. Yes, you did. You call a woman in the chat room a bitch. Raspberry Exclusive. You call a woman a bitch out of her name. And what did I say? Nigga, I said, I understand why you said it. But the problem wasn't what you said. It's a problem with those people on the panel had not done. Raspberry Exclusive. And you know, Exposer, thank you for giving him a name. Thank you for giving him a nickname. Right? Thank you for giving him a nickname. Because who I really was talking about wasn't him. I really was talking about a woman. Wasn't talking about him. I was referring to a woman. So Raspberry, are you telling me that you're a woman? Now, hold on. I know though you are not a woman, right? I know you're not a woman, but if I'm talking about a woman, why are you feeling upset that I'm talking about a woman? Make that make sense, Raspberry. Exclusive. Raspberry Exclusive. Explain that, nigga. So yeah, so Exposer. Let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about that for a minute, right? For a minute. So a woman got up in the chat room and said, well, Razzie Exclusive is a scammer. Now, the nigga called this woman a bitch. Call her all sorts of bees and all that, right? She's a bitch. She's this, that, and third, right? Now, if somebody will call me out of my name, I would fire it back. Yes, I would. I'll fire it back. But the issue wasn't about him calling this woman the B word. The issue I was raising was what is the hypocrisy of the channel holder and the co-host and the cousin of the channel holder. And those blue pill simps that will be up in his chat room. Because if this was somebody else, they would have had bounties and massive disrespect and everything else. That was the point I was making. You calling a woman out of her name has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the hypocrisy of it. It was the reaction to it was the problem. Now, Raz is exclusive. Now, I know this is going to get back to you, right? But if you're man enough, all you got to do, nigga, is hit that link. All you got to do is hit this damn link. But then again, I know you're not going to hit that link though. But go ahead, but it's up. Prove to me that I'm wrong. Hit this link if you want to, Raz. Hit this link, Raz. Exclusives. Raspberry. Because that was the dumbest thing you ever done. That was so dumb. Anybody could sit there, and I even said it last night. This has nothing to do with you, but I'm really talking about the channel holder. How many times I got to say the channel holder, the channel holder's cousin, and the co-host of that channel. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Now go over there and tell them I'm live too. Go over there and tell them I'm live right now. Go over there and tell them I'm live right now. If he really want to talk, we can. Other than that, he needs to shut the mighty fuck up. All I said was, I understand why he said it. So why should I be roasted? Why should I be roasted for saying and I'm asking something, Exposer. Did I attack him last night? Did I attack this man last night? Because I went out of my way of not attacking him. All I did was saying what the channel holder was doing, what the co-host was not doing, and what the cousin of the channel holder wasn't doing. That's the fucking point. Exactly, Exposer. Nobody from last night said any bad thing about him. Nobody said anything bad about him last night. Because it has nothing to do with him. Even the what I posted on my comment on my community tab had nothing to do with him. That's the thing. What I said on the community tab had nothing to do with him. It has something to do with the channel holder. and that click over there. That's it. Now I'm going to bet you. Now I'm not watching his live stream. So exposure. I want you. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm right. Because I'm not watching his channel, right? I'm not watching it at this point. I'm not watching at this point. Is the channel holder in question is on that panel? Yes or no? Is Bomb Cherry on that panel? Yes or no? Or is anybody from the channel holder's channel is over there? Yes or no? I want to know now. I want to know because I'm not going over to see it. I'll watch it later if I had the time. If I feel like watching it, you know, I feel like watching it. But anyway, you see, and this is the reason why we need. Oh, this is the reason why we need an education system to be reworked because niggas don't understand comprehension. You got to comprehend what somebody's saying. Niggas around here don't know how to comprehend. You see, Rotten Cherries was in the chat topping him off. You know, I now I understand what V-Dub was talking about. That's why now I understand why V-Dub. Anyway, I shouldn't bring up V-Dub's name, but because V-Dub said something the other day, a few months ago, and you know, and this is proving the point. You can't just say, you know, just topping somebody off without knowing what the fuck going on. Now she gonna make content off of this because she got nothing else to talk about on her end. She got nothing else to talk about. But it's comical though. And notice nobody ain't hitting the link. Notice nobody who got a problem is hitting the link. But if I'm talking about something else that's nothing to do with what you niggas are on, y'all would hit the link and would distract what the topic was. Y'all would distract what the topic was about. Just like the last time I did a live stream last week. We're talking about some bullshit that has nothing to do with the fuck I was talking about. I find that amazing. I find that amazing. That you will only hit the link only to distract or create or create a distraction to what the fuck I was referring to. And that happened last week. I don't give a flying fuck about no Kamala Harris was an Indian. I can give two flying fucks about what the fucking ass Sudanese and Somalians are doing. I really don't give a flying fuck. It has nothing to do with the topic I was originally talking about. So nigga, you got a fucking problem. I'm over here. You can hit the link over here, nigga. That's all there's to it, Razzie. And I'm gonna say something too. There is a reason why, man, you making this live stream, right? There is a reason why you're making this live stream. You're making this live stream for this fact because you're trying to shore up your base. You're trying to shore up your base. Your base is not who I'm referring to, nigga. You're trying to, because though I don't kiss people's asses over here. Y'all have a problem. Because I don't kiss no ass. See, and that's been y'all's problem. Raz, you keep on expecting me to kiss your ass. Nigga, you are no better than BGS. You're no better than Anger Man. If that's what you're expecting of me, my nigga, you ain't no better than like the Manosphere. If that's what you think, what this is about, then you know better than them. So Raz, now I know this about to give back to you, Raz. I'm gonna get back. I'm get this right on back to you. The doors of the church is open on this channel and on this channel. On both my channels, the doors of the church is open. Now let's see, Raz, if you're going to hit the link. I'm gonna give you. Okay, exposer. Give me a time. Give me a time. Do you want 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? How long do you think I should at least give him enough ample time to come over here and talk that bullshit over here? Uninterrupted. Because I'm telling you right now, nigga, I will not be disrespected. Let me say it to you, Razzie. I will not be disrespected. And another thing, nigga, I will not, I repeat myself again, I will not play second fiddle to any of you niggas on over here. You're not gonna sun me, nigga. You're not gonna sit there and pat me on my fucking ass head. That goes for you, psychopath atheist, you pro-wax over there. Hold on. You said 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, exposer. Let's start in 5 minutes. Okay, let's start it now. Okay, so it's 3:55. It's 3:50 p.m. right now. So I'm gonna give them the 3:55. I'm gonna give them the 3:55 Central Time to show up. Okay. Other than that, though, he ain't gonna hit that damn link. But anyway, too many of you niggas thinking I'm supposed to play second to y'all. Bull fucking shit. I play second to no one. In fact, let me tell myself this. Right? I'm gonna talk to myself real quick. Because I'm gonna share y'all about myself. You see, for the last 5-6 years, for the past 5-6-7 years, I'll say 7, right? I've been putting myself second. I put other people above me for health reasons. People was sick. I had to take care of them. So all this time for the last 7 fucking ass years, I had to put myself second. I put my needs and my wants became secondary for the past 7 goddamn years. Putting somebody's dreams on hold. Now I'm talking to myself now. I put my own shit second and third of somebody else's needs. But I'll be goddamn. In 2025, I'm gonna allow you bitch ass niggas try to put me in second. See, I'm only gonna put myself second and third and fourth because out of love and respect for people who I fucking care about. You bitch niggas thinking, oh, let's put Big J second or third, fourth, and fifth. I'm not chasing the bag. You are. Some of you niggas don't have jobs. YouTube is your damn job. YouTube is your motherfucking job. I can get up and go to work tonight, but I'm off tonight. But again, I worked last night. I worked the night before, and I worked the well, not night, not last night. I'm sorry, wrong night. Sunday night, Saturday night, Friday night. I worked. What do you niggas got outside of YouTube? Just empty ass bragging points like, I got subscriber supremacy. That don't mean shit to me. See, I come to realize that the subscriber supremacy is bullshit. That don't mean shit to me. Because YouTube is your motherfucking life. Raspberry. You can't sit there and talk about my speech impediment. And so what? But if I'm such an unimportant in the grand scheme of things, why do you need a live stream about me talking about you when I wasn't talking about you? When you wasn't even the topic. That tells me, nigga, you might want, you might want to read a language book. Know something about the subject verb agreement. You might want to learn the thing about, your adverbs and adjectives and shit. You might want to understand what a simile and a metaphor is. You might want to learn a thing about what is the difference between a pronoun and a noun. What is an action verb? What's the difference between a verb, an adverb, and an action and an action verb? You might you might want to learn all that before you sit on your goddamn tail feather and try to dress me on some bullshit. Now again, exposure. You've been here. Am I past these 5 minutes yet? Am I past these 5 minutes yet? Because I started off at 3. Oh no, better yet. I'll go ahead and say it. I'm a minute over. Now you said You said 5 minutes exposure. It's almost 7 minutes. It's almost 7 minutes. Now I'm giving him 2 minutes too long. Now I won't. Nobody said Big J. You only gave him 5 minutes because you know he wasn't going to show up. Didn't I say 10 minutes? I asked exposure, should I give him 10 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Didn't I say that earlier? I think I did. But exposure said 5 minutes, and let's keep it at 5 minutes because he's been 2 minutes over time. So let me sit here and say this again. There's not one black person on YouTube I'm jealous of. You know what? Let me stop right there. Let's talk about that word jealousy. Right? Let's talk about that word jealousy. Raspberry. You are a jealous nigga. Well, Big J, how do you know? Well, I tell you. Remember Expose the Manosphere? Remember when Expose the Manosphere was going after the Manosphere? And Expose the Manosphere was accosted by you because you made a video addressing him. And then when you was addressing him, you was going after him because, and it seems like because he was gaining traction from the female population. You see, the real person who's jealous is you. Since though, I heard that Bomb Cherry was over there, right? So I'm assuming since Bomb Cherry want to accuse me of being jealous, well, once you was jealous of Expose the Manosphere. I rest my case on that. Okay. I rest my case on that. But back to the bigger argument. Back to the bigger argument, right? The bigger argument I'm gonna make is this. There's not one black content creator I'm jealous of. Because Bomb Cherry likes to make that stupid ass argument, right? Bomb Cherry likes to make that stupid ass argument. Taz got something that I don't want. Sharon got something that I don't want. There's nothing that any of these Negroes have I want. Now, what they're gonna say is, well, they're getting female attention. Oh, you want female attention? Blah 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 blah. Really, nigga? You want black female attention? What they will say. For what? Oh, well, and when that doesn't work, then they will say, well, Big J, you want, you know, these men are married and they have families. You don't have a family. Who said I want that? See, then though the next argument would be, well, man, you want the subs. You want Sharon subs, or you want Taz's subs. You want subs. Really? I hate to bust y'all's bubbles. I will never want those people to be my subs. I don't give a damn if you raise this channel to 10,000. I don't care if all their subs come if all your 2,000, 3,000 subs become my subs. I don't want them subs to my channel. You know why I don't want them subs to my channel? Because those individuals are the most disingenuous groups of people around. I don't want to hear no woman talking about black men ain't shit. I don't want to hear no woman saying black men ain't shit, but then you over here all the time. Take your ass and get your ass up and out of here. That's what I would tell her. Why your ass here? I don't want to hear no woman or no man from Sharon's channel or Raspberry's channel, Raz exclusive channel, come over here and say, oh, we this, that, and third. No, take your ass right on back where you came from. See, a jealous man would try to take from you. A jealous man would try to kill, destroy, and steal. I wish none of that on you, Taz. Or excuse me, Raz. I wouldn't wish that on taking your shit, Raz. Because you the one who needs YouTube. You the one who don't have a job, apparently. There's not one black man in this space I'm jealous of. Because none of you niggas got what I want. None of you Negroes in this space don't have the word. And you know what that word is. The word to project. The word that means projection or force. Go to your dictionaries and type what that means. What you mean by force? Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll be over there, man. Okay. I'll be over there. Okay. All right. A important phone call has been made. Important phone call. But anyway, where was I at? Right? I'm gonna deal with that in a minute. I'm gonna leave with this. You niggas don't got shit what I want. You niggas don't have a goddamn thing what I need. What y'all need? What y'all have? A big ass mouth. And so much time. You niggas don't have a fucking thing that what Big J wants and what Big J desires. So you think this supremacy shit supposed to mean something? You don't mean shit, niggas. Some of you niggas got on thing y'all think without YouTube, you niggas would be dead. If it wasn't for YouTube, some of you niggas would be in a jailhouse. If it wasn't for YouTube, you niggas will be on the street. If it wasn't for YouTube. So why should I be jealous of you lame brain ass niggas online? Some of you niggas are homeless living in a woman's house. Some of you pea brain ass niggas is living under a woman's skirt. But I'm supposed to be jealous of that. I'm gonna say something straight up. I'd rather be a lonely nigga. You know, since Brownsville wanna call me incel, right? I'd rather be an incel than living in a woman's house. Living on behind a woman's skirt. You know, I would rather do that. Now I want you to notice Raz did not hit the link yet. I want y'all to notice he didn't hit that link yet. Notice Raspberry did not hit my link. So with that, it's 4:10. I got things to do. I think I have a meeting to go to in a minute. So anyway, I'll see y'all next time, and I'm out. I might be live later tonight. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.